TikTok ruined this song for me.
This song cracks me up.
Love it.
It just makes me happy that Billy Ray Cyrus is back.
I don't even like country, but I like that song. I like that song, and I like It'll Come to Me. Like one of those band songs.
All right, man, how are you?
What are we going over this morning?
So, a couple things. Number one, I think, and it kind of leads into what we've been talking about with quite a few different agents, I would say, over the last week. Is we were talking about last week making sure that you have enough, right? And we had a good rule of thumb of leads, right, of generating on a monthly basis.
Yeah, I think
first.
We were talking about that this morning. I think we need to just drive that point home every day live. All right, listen.
Every single time.
Leads are like oxygen. You can't go very long without them. Make sure you have enough. And I'm not talking about buying leads. I'm not talking about, FISBO and expireds from different aggregators. I'm talking about leads that have come to you first. I just had a little rant about this on the way in. Leads that are warm, that fill out a form, that you know how they came, you know what the formula was to get them, you understand how to do it, and you can do it at will.
And so, like, I do this at the beginning of every month. So my sales huddle this morning, same thing. Hey, I need your goals written down for what the month is. And that's how many calls they're going to make, how many conversations they're going to have, how many appointments they're going to set, how many appointments they're going to keep, and how many sales it's going to lead to. And it's just like, it's the easiest thing in the world when you just break it down to numbers, because men lie, women lie, and numbers do not.
All right.
So, like, that rule of thumb is, what up, Calvin? Every time I see Calvin or see his name, I just want to do the Alvin from the Alvin and the Chipmunks thing.
Calvin.
Every time I see him. So anyway, when you have that dialed into the numbers, and again, if you treat it like, hey, I'm going into May, I want to make this much money, or I want to get onto the pace where I'm closing 2 deals a month, or 5 deals a month, or 10 deals a month, whatever the number is for you. It's that consistency, but it comes from what you consistently put into the top of your sales and marketing process, right? Like, if you think of it like a damn funnel, right? Like literally like you're putting oil into your car funnel. You can't expect oil to come through and get into your engine if you're not putting any oil into the top, right? And you're going to spill some, you're going to miss.
Yeah. All right. So just a little rant there.
Yeah.
Now let's segue. For those of you who are generating leads, and you have a lot of leads coming in, and you feel pretty good about that part of your business, what do we got for them there, Jake? What do we got to tell them?
So 2 things here. Number one, I want to continue to expand upon the myth of bad leads. Right?
You know what? I mean, like, there are bad leads. There are bad leads. I mean, that's true, right? Like I said in Facebook today, if you put an ad out that says $500 down home, $500 a month, that's what kind of lead you're going to get. You know, hey, how much you got to put down? $500. You know?
Right?
Yeah.
And you'll get ones that are bad numbers, or like you call and all you got was an email address, and the email address was aaa@aaa.com, right?
Right.
And then the phone number was 123-456-789. Like, okay, no such thing as a bad lead, right? But it's just it's not like taken to a exact science. It's just it's a mentality to have, right? And know that if you can have the foresight to be able to really actually just market to people, because marketing, and I can't say this enough or beat this into people's head enough, but marketing is just the management of a transactional relationship, which is real estate, right? So you want to manage the relationship. The only way you can manage a relationship is if you put time into the relationship, but you can do that in mass And you can also do it like, do you feel like, who's a celebrity that you follow that you feel like if you were friends, like if you got to meet them, like you guys would be boys? Or
Mark Wahlberg, like
okay,
he's very
that's a
relatable.
good one.
Yeah.
He's very relatable, right?
I think it'd be cool to have some beers with Mark Wahlberg for sure.
Right. For me, it's always been John Krasinski from The Office.
Really?
Yeah, I just feel like
what
him or Ryan Reynolds. I just feel like
Ryan Reynolds too. Yeah, he'd be fun, but he'd be a little too much. Like I'd want to punch him in the face after.
But I think that would be fun. Like it would be like we're just immediately like boys. Like we grew up together. You know,
all right, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
So the whole point of this is that you can create that. Like I've never met him.
Yep.
You've never met them, but you feel like this crazy connection with them, or because
I wouldn't go that far, stalker. I just think it'd be cool to hang out with them.
My bad, right? But you have some affinity points. You have whatever you can relate with them, whatever it is. Right. But you've been able to they've been able to create this relationship with you without ever actually spending time with you.
In my mind.
In your mind, because that's all that matters.
Well, you know, in real life, he might be a complete jerk. I mean,
he could be. And Mark Wahlberg, have you ever seen his daily regimen? If you want some motivation on how to get shit done, look at his daily.
I don't want to hang out with that part, right? Like I'm not trying to hang in that at that level. I know he gets up at like 3 a.m. and hits his gym and boxes and all this stuff, you know. I mean, I do respect the fact that he likes to challenge himself, though. I think that's part of what makes him, you know, cool in my mind. Yeah, and who knows if he even really does that? That's a narrative that's been put out into the, you know, maybe he did it for a time to like get ready for a movie. Now everybody thinks he does it all the time. Well, you know, I want to transition to like the biggest lead generator in our business, which is Zillow. Okay, so what does Zillow do to generate leads? Because I think that this is important. They try to get everybody. They don't care who, right? And that's the part that people miss. So like they'll run an ad on TV. You know, they'll say, hey, you know, have a good experience in shopping for your home and, you know, feel this emotion and feel that emotion and little kid jumping into the arms, you know, your home. I want to help you with your home. And they do it on such a broad approach of their market, which crazy enough is America, right? Like you're doing this in a city, okay? And they have everybody come and they have everybody start to hang around. And they have everybody start to use their tool. And like I said in my live yesterday, you know, they deliver them hits of dopamine through distraction, right? Through sending them content, which is crazy because they don't do this with their own customers. You know, I've asked their customers, I'm like, what do you consume from Zillow? They're like, nothing. I'm like, really? You pay them $10,000 a month and you don't consume any information? Nope. Wide open for me, right? Consume my stuff, okay? Because what'll happen is eventually, right? You're going to hang around enough and I'm going to change the way you think about this whole thing. Anyway, until they get down to the bottom of the funnel and then they fill out a form, right? And they request information about a house. And so that's how Zillow does it. And, you know, all we're saying about 10 homes we think you'll love. There you go. So that's
every morning
of content that they're distracting, giving that dopamine hit and nurturing with, right? And there's more to that science than what I had spoke about yesterday. But that's the one that I think that we should be looking at as agents and prescribing to initially. But my point is, you know, they're not saying, oh, these are good leads or, oh, these are bad leads. The leads are just people. They're just people. And they're just getting people who are interested in buying a home to come to them, right? To look at their mousetrap, if you will. And for us as agents, that's the name of the game, and that's the goal. And you know, the things that they do after that is really what makes them strong and able to sell leads to you for $300 a pop, $400 a pop. I got friends paying $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month to Zillow, and they can't get off of it because, you know, that process takes a little delayed gratification, right? It takes maybe about 12 months of, you know, spending that money in a different area, not getting the same result at first, until those leads are nurtured and incubated over time. If you do it right, if you don't do it right, it's not going to work. And then you have just a big fat pipeline of hot, ready to act now business, right? And that's what we're trying to tell you to do.
People are people.
Yeah,
you know, it's like once you take because it'd be really interesting to do like a little case study to say, hey, we're gonna pay these people like a salary. And they were bonus based off of how many closings they had, and just see what kind of changing they have. Because I just think when people get into a situation where they need to make a commission, like all of the normal kind of common sense type stuff on how to treat people goes completely out the window.
It happens for us. Like when we're running towards the end of the month and we're not hitting our goals for as many units as we need to sell, like we start emailing you guys a lot. We'll start throwing out some weird stuff. Like
you might get my personal favorite, which is a spinning wheel for a promotion.
Oh yeah. That one people actually take us up on it, and it's cool. But the truth is, a lot of this comes from our own experience as we apply it to this particular business. And the thing that's interesting about that is that there's no difference, right? Because the game plan is the same. It doesn't matter if I apply it to the mortgage industry, which I have and owned a mortgage company, or if I apply it to the real estate industry. It doesn't matter, generally speaking, if I applied it to storage unit facilities that I've owned. I mean, the main goal is to get them to respond, get them to come in from some kind of a lead magnet, and then try to sell them on my product or service. And so, that's the thing that most agents miss. They have like all these things that the industry wants to teach you and tell you need to be focused on. And like, it's all crap and it's all situational. And some of it sounds really cool. Like if you resonated with the message I put out yesterday and you're like, yeah, I need to be delivering dope to my clients, right? Listen, if you don't have leads for them to watch this stuff, then you ain't going to do it. And maybe you do suck at a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, but if you don't have people in front of you to give them to, that's not where you go, right? And so,
not your biggest problem.
Yeah, not your biggest problem.
Not your biggest problem. And like it's just amazing how because it is a complex business, right? And it's one of the more complex businesses because most everybody that's in the business has to do everything, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's priority confusion. What do I do? When do I do it? What do I and you got to remember, every time you open up your inbox or Facebook, right? Not everybody is benevolent as us, like actually trying to help, right? A lot of times they just have like something that sounds cool, but they've never done it. It's something that they heard from someone else that they think, oh, I could put this out in the market and sell it, but they have no activity knowledge as to whether or not that actually works in the real estate industry. And there's just a crap load of shiny hubcaps, out there, and it's like, oh, squirrel.
Yes. And it's so hard.
Well, and actually what's happening there is another little chemical process in the brain when you find something, right, that you feel like superior about finding, you have a status increase. Like, I got this thing, but if it doesn't work, that goes out the window pretty quick.
And the status decreases again real quick.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating of, like I always equate it to trying to communicate to people like what it's like just internally to our team. Like it'd be like if you walked into Market Maker, right? And you had nobody in Dallas and it was only you in Missouri. And it was like, okay, so you're responsible for sending out all of the emails to our database. You're responsible for running all the ads. You're responsible for then calling all the people that we get to respond to the marketing messages. And then you're trying to have that first time appointment to show them the system. And then once we bring them on, you have to onboard them, set up their system, do all the technology stuff. Like when you think about it from any other business perspective, like it's really overwhelming.
Dude, I don't even clean the house or make dinner without leverage.
Right.
Like, why do you need help? I do that by myself all the time. I'm like, babe, that's how I'm wired.
I don't know.
That garlic. I'm gonna need it, right?
But if you concentrate on that, like you can slowly start getting things off of your plate that you don't need to have on your plate eventually over time. But it's really just kind of trying to keep it as simple as possible because at this point, you're probably, if you're not generating 100 leads a month for you or each person on your team, that's where you have to start. And you have to solve that problem with either money or time, right? And you can leverage technology to do a good portion of that now too. Like we've hit a honey pot with being able to teach a lot of people, what we've been doing in the
yeah. We've been getting free leads on Marketplace, and it's fantastic. And the cool thing about that, what I shouldn't tell them the secret. I'm telling everybody.
No, you should. What I'm saying,
know.
The result, like I got another person that got in last week, 65 leads, no cost, 65 leads. They were one of our clients already.
Yep.
And they were struggling getting clients. And I saw them at an event, and I was like, dude, you got to get into this group. And she got in the group. 5 days, 65 leads, and 13 conversions.
So here's the reason why it's so cool. It's because people who are shopping right in that place are active shoppers. So, it's not interruption marketing like Facebook, which is a little longer term nurture because they're scrolling through and in their newsfeed, they see something about a home. They're like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about buying a home here in the next 6-12 months. They're shopping now. So they're closer towards the bottom of the funnel. So they are perceived as like better leads, right? Like, oh man, these leads are amazing. Well, it's just because they're shopping right now. All leads are amazing if you deal with them right. And so I wanted to say, if you are generating enough leads, but you're running the same old like 1999 game plan of just calling them, right? Literally, this is when this stuff started coming out, just calling them and setting an appointment. And then you leave like the follow-up call and, some lame ass newsletter from, your corporate brokerage that nobody reads.
A recipe.
You are about to be humbled because the power of, what we call digital branding is going to come in and smack you in the face. And yeah, I had it happen to me. I had it happen to me just in a much lesser capacity. Not the smack. The smack was just as hard and humbling, but it's coming. And for the agents that don't pay attention to that, man, look out. But, and I want to talk about that only. I only want to talk about that. But the thing is, there's a requisite to it first, and it's having the leads, which are your audience in your database, and having enough of them on a consistent basis. So, I'm Calvin, right? Calvin was generating the leads, doing a great job, getting appointments, getting showings, getting listings, and I went to look for his ad because I was trying to show somebody an example, and it was off. And I went to him and I was like, "Hey, Calvin, why your ad's not there? What's going on?" He's like, "Well, I had so many, I had to shut it off." I was like, "Dude, I had the same feeling when I first started generating leads, and I had a paradigm shift. And the paradigm shift was this: I had a coach at the time. He said, "Mike, don't shut them off." And he said, "Every lead that you generate is a lead that your competitor does not." And I was like, He said, right? Yeah. He said, think about it for a minute. He said, if you don't generate that lead, what's going to happen to that home buyer? They're going to end up in somebody else's lead generation, whatever it is. Maybe it's they stumble into an open house. Maybe they run into them at the grocery store and they say, "Hey, nice realtor pin." "Oh yeah, I'm buying a house," whatever. Maybe they don't have the same lead generation capacity or technology. He said, but your competitor will end up generating that lead. And I was like, you know what? Those suckers have enough. I'm not going to let them have them. I'm a competitive guy. And so that process led me to continue to bite off more than I could chew and nibble like hell, right? To the point where pretty soon I had a big fat pipeline and I had consistency in my business. And so,
you didn't even have as much automation that's available now.
Dude, we didn't even have social media. We didn't even have pay-per-click. I mean, pay-per-click was just emerging, Yeah.
Like imagine what would have happened if you had the 29-day touch plan automatically firing off for all your leads as they came in.
Oh, dude. You know what? Honestly, I probably wouldn't have learned some of the things that I had to learn.
That's true.
And man, I'm getting hit up to go to the Derby. I'm supposed to be at the Mastermind right now. I'm supposed to be at the Derby, and people are giving me a hard time, rightfully so, because yeah. And I have tremendous FOMO, like fear of missing out. I just do. I told my wife this morning, I was like, "Babe, I think my thing that's weighing on me." She's like, "Yeah, I remember that about you. You always had FOMO." And I was like, "Yeah."
That's how I wrangled you in, babe.
Right. That's it. Anyway, so a couple things, just to kind of wrap a nice, neat bow. Number one, make sure your lead gen game is strong. Make sure you understand how to do this. Don't just buy leads. If you are calling FSBOs and expireds before you've maximized every lead generation area in your market, from pay-per-click to the free sources, and hit what we call the law of diminishing returns, where you can't get another dollar to get another client, in my humble opinion, you're spending your time on the wrong thing. Now, there are some of you who would push back on that, and that's okay. I just hate FSBOs and expireds who didn't call me first. I hate it. I refuse to do it in my business, and maybe it costs me money, but whatever. I stand against that. Okay, I don't like it. So if you're spending your time on that, maybe
a real job, Odo.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe take a look at what you're doing and say, okay, maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe I should pay attention. If you guys want us to show you how to generate those free leads, we've been selling a course on it. You probably twist our arm and get in there if you're a client without paying. In fact, no, you can't do that. We'll let you in if you're a current client and show you how to do that, because we should. It's our duty to show you guys how to really dominate your market. And then lastly, if you're not at least doing one video per week and pushing that out to your database and pushing that out by using Market Maker, by pushing that one button, which, throws it onto YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, you're missing the boat. And I don't care what level of production you're at, you're going to regret it.
And it's still the wild, wild west. Kinder said that the other day when we were talking to a group of agents, and it's so true. This is such a big opportunity that not enough people are jumping on, and it's going to be too late eventually. But it's like the missing link. We've talked about a little bit. It's like the missing link. Once you generate the leads, like it's a prerequisite that you have to have the oil going into the top of the funnel.
Yeah.
But you've got to have a bottom of the funnel too. And, that's the thing that most companies, and again, like you were saying, like it's not your fault. Like, they
don't tell you this stuff.
They don't tell you the other part because like, and we've seen this, like agents just respond differently to leads, right? Like people are like, leads, I need leads, but it's like, but then I got burnt on these things. Well, it's because they didn't teach you the whole process.
Right.
And like, if you're generating leads now and spending money on it or spending time to generate leads and you don't have digital branding in place, you are missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, and I'm going to decode that.
Thank you.
So what happens when you generate a lead, right? When you generate a lead, when we run your pay-per-click for you, right? When any other company sells you a lead, or when some other company runs pay-per-click for you, they are running it to a website, to a landing page that doesn't talk about you, period. So yeah, you got a lead. The only thing that they're going to remember about you is the phone call, which a lot of people don't make. Okay. And then if you just start spamming them with emails with a little drip campaign, they're gonna ignore that. You're gonna be an annoying pest, right? And so, trying to tie this all together, you have to make sure that you have a strategy in place that retargets them, that brands you as the only person to do business with in their market above all competitors through some unique selling propositions. You need to be putting out content. And let me tell you, if you're scared to put out content and you don't want to do video, that's okay. You can talk into a microphone and do it on just voice. You can type it and just do it with a blog, right? Just whatever until you get your confidence up in what you're saying to the point where you can get on the video, because that's going to be the most powerful, where people can see you and they can hear you. Just like Jake was saying, me, having an affinity for Mark Wahlberg, totally manufactured, never met the dude, right? It's just through that process. And it's not through the movies. It's through the interviews and through, him just being a real guy that makes me like, yeah, I'd probably pick to have a beer with Mark Wahlberg,
And just to tie a bow, because you said it and it made me think, because it's like a bad word to me, but drip campaigns, using drip campaigns in 2019, that is only email and canned email, is the equivalent of like running newspaper ads in like 2012.
That's funny, because I knew somebody who did that and he refused to not do it. It was my dad, actually.
They still can work. It's better than not doing anything. But like, how many people, and not you didn't get on the newspaper's website too, because a lot of people go to newspaper websites now to get content. You actually only had it in print on newspapers. So like you missed. I mean, there's still some circulation, but not nearly what it was 10, 20 years before that. You know what I mean? Like, drip campaigns are just, if that's your answer for, oh no, I got it covered, I can follow up with people because I got a drip campaign, you're missing out.
I agree. You know what? I don't have any clothes for the derby. I don't have any of that fruity colored stuff. Like,
come on.
I'm gonna have to borrow some of Dylan's.
Yeah, just stop by Dylan's on the way out of town.
The guy who dresses like an Easter egg. All right, you guys. So yeah, we rambled a little bit today.
You're gonna go live from the Derby this weekend, aren't you?
Probably. Well, I apologize a little bit for that. but the two key takeaways here, if you don't have enough leads, start there. If you do have enough leads, you need to implement a digital branding campaign so that these people can start to know, like, and trust you, to make it so that when you do meet with them, you have a level of authority. And let me just drive that home real quickly. If you're buying leads from Zillow and they fill out the little form and you're the Zillow Premier agent, that ain't gonna cut it. They're not gonna remember who was on that little form before they click submit. And, the last time I clicked submit on that, it was on Realtor, and I got like 5 calls from 5 different people. And so, there's no branding component to that. So if you're buying leads from Zillow, you need to have a digital branding strategy there as well. That's agnostic, meaning not connected to Zillow's strategy. So like they come into your system, you're still retargeting them with your branded ads. You're still sending them out content and videos and information about the buying process in your market. And let me tell you something, it's way more powerful to be a human than it is to be a brand and have them try to create a relationship with that brand that's no name in the cloud, not tied to them whatsoever. And it's really easy for us to outcompete on a local level a national company like that. So, even if that's your only play right now and that's what you're doing, you still need some digital branding. And we'd love to help you. So
absolutely.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, tomorrow live, different time. We'll do 11:30, I believe, Central for Wally's call tomorrow. So we'll get that up and rolling. Jump on there, ask them questions. And as we always say here at Market Maker, it's all about building a business that works harder for you
than you do for it. That's right.
Go get it.
Later.
At the Derby.